Hey, good afternoon and welcome to our first meeting in October. The fall, it was cold this morning. It's more than fall. It felt like winter. The invocation tonight will be given by Councilman Rick Lockridge, and respects to the flag will be led by Councilman Matt Harbert. Please rise.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we come to you knowing that we need to trust you and believe in you. We need to continue to give our lives to you each and every day. We thank you so much for what you've done for us already. You have done great things for this city, and we appreciate it. We ask you to bless each member of the staff of this city. Help them get through whatever problems they might have. Continue to bless each member of this council. Let us do what is right in your eyes. And Lord, we come to you tonight heavy-hearted because the world seems to be blowing itself up. And we ask you to find some way to bring peace to this world. Help us find the right solutions for all the people so that somehow, some way, there will not be more conflict. Now, once again, we thank you for all that you've done for us and all that you will do for us. We ask you to continue to be with us in every way you can. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get into the body of our meeting, this evening we do have a special presentation, and we have Deborah McIntyre and Ashley Goodson will share some information with us, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. McEwen to tee this up.
Yeah, thank you. And Mr. Martinez has talked about this a little bit, I think maybe a meeting or so ago, as we were walking out, or even at the beginning of the meeting. But opportunity here, they're looking to do some filming in downtown Anderson and in Anderson, and we're excited about that. And so they have a presentation for us, for just a 5-minute presentation to go over. And so with that, I know it's getting pulled up, and we'll turn it over to them. So we're excited to hear about it.
Thanks so much for having us. So we have this film that we've spent 3 years writing. This is Ashley Goodson. She is my former student and dear friend. And we've spent 3 years writing this play on FaceTime. She lives in Atlanta, and we would get 3 or 4 days a week and just go to town doing it. I had written a novel a couple of years prior, and we based it on the novel. So it's called I Miss That Sound. It's a faith-friendly and family-friendly film, and we're going to tell you a little bit about it.
Yes, good evening. Thank you so much for having us. I Miss That Sound. Our pitch is it's Sleepless in Seattle meets Faith with the punch of comedy of Something's Gotta Give. So it's reminiscent of the role that music played in the Wonder Years, because we also see music as another character of our story, especially because our story revolves around a world-renowned music conservatory. And we start in the fall of our film and we go through Christmas time, and we're following two 55-year-old college ex-sweethearts who reconnect at this alma mater 30 years later.
The log line is something that we had to do in screenwriting class, and it is just about a single, bubbly, energetic 55-year-old working musical theater actress reconnects with her sophisticated business guru college ex-boyfriend after 30 years, finding themselves on completely opposing sides of the impending sale of the renowned music conservatory alma mater. That's the synopsis in one sentence. I will be playing the part of Olivia, and then there will be the part of Thomas, who is my boyfriend from college. We are hoping for a household name, and we have a few that we think we have the potential to get. So we're really excited about that possibility.
I play Miranda. I play Olivia's daughter, and she is an attorney. She lives in Chicago. She's also a part of finding a key loophole in the case that comes up towards the middle of the show. And then she is also engaged to this guy named Jack, who is also a attorney, but he's very tough. He's competitive, but he's also a romantic at heart. And in our story, one of our spins is that Thomas and Olivia's children, Jack and Miranda, are dating, which is unbeknownst to them. And why this is also further complicated is that he is still grieving the loss of his mother from passing away from cancer. This character is one of our favorites and that we probably enjoyed writing the most. This is Veronica Kingsley. We see her as this overly Botoxed billionaire widow who she comes in, and we all know she has her sights set on Thomas. And what is so fun is that she ends up, of course, saving the university. And she has a very squeaky, very annoying, we would say, voice, and she also has really bad breath. So we go on a journey with her as we see how she ends up saving our story and how she finally gets her statue that honors her that she so desperately wants.
So the questions that we answer are, how do Thomas and Olivia fit into the story? Why is the conservatory being sold? And how much money is needed to save it? I'm not going to read you this whole synopsis. I think we've kind of given you an overview of that. But since it does take place at a music conservatory and about 80% of the screenplay is based around this conservatory, we have been blessed to be able to film at Anderson University. I taught there for 12 years, very familiar with all of the spaces there, and so blessed to be able to film there. Our story actually takes place in Connecticut, and it takes place from fall to Christmas, with the primary location being at the conservatory.
Like any phenomenal rom-com, especially the ones that we have loved and adored and that we looked up to during our writing process, they all have a tapestry of characters. And so as you can see, we'll bring in a lot of other characters that will add a lot to our story and that helps tell our story in the best way, and also, most importantly, the funniest way possible.
We're going to kind of skip through this because we don't have time to really tell you why us, but we've spent a 20-year journey together as friends, and first she was my student, and the nicest thing about being a faculty member is that sometimes after they graduate, they remember you, and then you stay in touch, and that's really fun. Our passion for our play is because we love rom-coms. We love music, and we see the importance of music education. We have nostalgic music throughout this, choir music, some very, very good choir music, which we will either be using Anderson University Choir for, or maybe another choir. It is multi-generational. We have from age 6 to age 80 in the play, and we wanted that, and lots of diversity as far as race is concerned as well. It has a seasonal storyline from fall to Christmas, and 2 separate love stories. Most of the time when you watch maybe one of the romance channels, you see a 20 or 30-year-olds falling in love, but very few times do you see 50-year-olds doing that. So we have a 50-year-old falling in love and the 20-year-olds falling in love. We also felt like it was answering a call to advocate for others, because throughout the storyline you will hear that. And then we just go on to...
So where we're at currently, we have a $200,000 investment from a Tony Award, Olivier, and LA Dramatics Critics Award winning Broadway producer. We're very thankful for her. We also, as we just explained, we have 95% of our locations are covered by the generosity of Anderson, by the school, by the town, and also we have several local businesses who are very excited to be a part of this, that we are very thankful we are partnering with them. When we saw their spaces, we knew that they needed to be in a rom-com, and we loved getting to share that with them, and they're very excited about that. And of course, we're so thankful for the support of the City of Anderson Chamber of Commerce. And we also have full support from the South Carolina Film Commission with 20 to 30% in tax rebates that we will see at the end of our production. They are very thankful we are shooting in Anderson, just to let you know, and that we are not in Charleston. And so we are very thankful to be here.
You want to talk about the movies?
So I was so touched and so moved and appreciated so much as a believer and a Christian myself to hear the beautiful prayer at the beginning of this meeting. And we both, that's one of our, we met at a Christian university, and as I still refer to her as Dr. Mack, my colleague and my dear friend, she's been a mentor and a faith leader in my life since I was 18. And this film, we really wanted to bring in faith-based, family-friendly, but also with the comedy element. And as you can see, all of these projects are record-breaking, box office breaking, ratings breaking projects, and they all, though, lean more towards the drama genre. And for us, I Miss That Sound, it definitely is a comedy, and we feel so desperately that the world needs to see more comedy. We all need so much to laugh, and we're just so thankful for your support. And we're also seeking, we're still in the process right now where we're seeking people to join us and be a part of this with us. So if anyone is interested in that, you can email us at immissthatsound@gmail.com, and we are seeking sponsorships. We have a GoFundMe, and we would love to have you join us in getting this produced and having Anderson shine, because it is a gem and it was made for a rom-com.
Well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate the information. I don't know if Mrs. Martinez might have a couple words to say.
Well, I just wanted to add, I know Deborah from church, and I've got to know Ashley through emails, and this really is a good opportunity for Anderson. I think anytime that we've talked about, quote unquote, this being a Hallmark type setting, and I think it just makes it a very attractive location to have a film done, and I think it'll only help for economic development and other reasons for us. So I'm excited to see this project come to fruition. I believe in both of you that you're going to do it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much for your
Appreciate it.
time.
Thank you all so much.
Maybe you can audition for the lead part, man.
Can I get a part?
Yeah.
Yeah. The mayor in the movie, there's got.
Be the mean old mayor.
You're doing a good job.
The minutes of our September 25th meeting have been distributed. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Not hearing any, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have first by Mr. Newton.
Second.
Second by Mr. Harvey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes of September 25th passed unanimously. Have a couple items of old business, and the first item is request second reading of ordinance 23-20, authorizing a schedule of fees for use of the City of Anderson's shared kitchen. Ms. McEwen?
Okay, we're on our way to get the shared kitchen open. We're excited about that. So this is part of the process. We did have a work session on this, a public hearing tonight, and this is second reading. We did pass first reading last time. It's a process you have to go through when a municipality adopts new fees. These are user fees here, and Ms. Mary Haley Thompson, our strategic projects manager, will go over the background sheet for you.
Yes, thank you. So as Mr. McEwen said, this is an exciting project. Several years ago, we all were keeping tabs of a growing list of so many food entrepreneurs in Anderson that desperately needed this type of commercial kitchen production space to start or grow their business. They were traveling outside of Anderson to other shared kitchens around the upstate, and we wanted to bring that service here to grow the food entrepreneurial community in Anderson. So after receiving 2 federal grants, we have now established a facility as Anderson's first shared kitchen incubator to provide that space for our food entrepreneurs. And it will, the kitchen will not only be used for production space, but also it will be staffed and will provide the entrepreneurs resources, mentoring, programs, classes, workshops, certifications, to really be there as a full support system from start to finish. So I'm really excited. We are getting very close to opening the kitchen, and with that, we are setting those rates. And so the kitchen rentals will be available daily, and programs will be scheduled on a monthly basis. And the really great thing, of course, is that it serves as an extension of the city's current business accelerator facilities, making this operation a full-service innovation epicenter for small business development, which is really sort of a landmark and really has inspired a lot of cities across South Carolina, because it's really an incredible facility and variety of services for our food entrepreneurs. So I'm going to go over the fee structure. As Mr. McEwen said, we did have a public hearing, and we have not heard any specific concerns or questions or feedback regarding the rates. So our initial booking fee is going to be $100. Kitchen hourly rental fees starts with your first 35 hours being at $20 an hour, and then tiering down with the more hours that you book. So that next 36 to 80 hours, it drops to $18, and then over 80 hours drops to $15. We did add the cleaning violation fee based on your feedback last week, really thinking through, what it is, because we will set forth a cleaning step-by-step sort of checklist that each user will have to follow every time they leave before the next user comes in. And we really want them to, of course, abide by those, because we are not only to keep the space clean, but also to stay in compliance with DHEC regulations, because they could come and inspect and everything. So that cleaning violation fee that we discussed last time, we felt should already be included. So that is there at $50. The monthly storage rental fees for the 72-inch walk-in cooler rack is going to be $55 a month. For the walk-in freezer rack, same thing, $55 a month. And our dry storage rack is going to be $45 a month. For those using the kitchen just for commissary use, so food trucks, trailers, and push carts, just to have access to water dumping on the grounds, the dishwashing room, and waste/grease disposal is going to be at $35 a month. And we've been doing a lot of research of other public shared kitchens and other cities that are comparable to Anderson to make sure that we have developed a fair and equitable system of rates where it's still accessible, but it will also cover our maintenance operations and regulating compliance expenses. So that is everything, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
On the hourly rates, I just thought of this. Is that a cumulative, like a calendar year? Do they start over after 80? I mean, is it just a cumulative? We have a user who has a cumulative 80 hours. They stay at $15 an hour?
Yeah, so they would be able to stay at that rate. So it's cumulative at this time.
Okay. Ms. Stewart?
Let me understand what you're saying. So if I bought 80 hours to begin with, and I use those 80 hours up, 6 months from now, I want to come back and buy another block of hours, I would still go back, so I want to buy 5, I would still go back to $15 an hour. It wouldn't start all over again?
At this time, the way it's written, it is cumulative. Doing a reset every year is a great thought that we haven't.
Because I
thought
would
of
think
right
at
now.
least if you do a cumulative from January to December, whatever
Right.
fiscal year, but I think you would start over the next year.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be hard to say, well, 5 years ago, I bought 80 hours, why can't I get $15 an hour 5 years later? I think we need to have some type of
Very
restart.
true. Yeah,
That's gonna-
absolutely. And you think it's written cumulative right now, but that could be something that we, adjust.
I think while we
each
build
year.
our base, it's a good way to attract them to come back, to get to that.
Sure.
That all-in 80-plus hours. But I'm with Councilman Stewart
Yeah.
that we should probably figure out what
That's a
that
great
window
thought.
is. And honestly, a year is still pretty gracious. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it probably even break down to quarterly, honestly.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm in
No,
support
those are
of it.
great
Good.
thoughts.
Any other questions, comments?
I'd like to ask,
Dr. Thompson?
What can you do in that kitchen? If you want to prepare some food, you can do what?
Yes, so we have 2 kitchens. There's a general kitchen and a baking kitchen. So I'll probably pull you up here for a minute. So for the baking kitchen specifically, do you want to talk about some of the things, like some of the different pieces of equipment?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we'll go over the general, just to give you
Yes.
some ideas.
So both kitchens are equipped with combi ovens, which are state-of-the-art ovens. They're actually just now making their way into the U.S., so they're pretty extravagant. They'll have access to those, which can do anything from sous vide cooking to, baking to, oh goodness, Andrew actually was in there when we were going over all the things. It's honestly endless. So both kitchens have access to those, convection ovens, refrigeration. So the fryer is in the main kitchen, and then we also have a griddle, like a stovetop, and what is it? It's a tilt skillet and a kettle in the baking kitchen, which is really unique.
Mixers.
They're really like massive state-of-the-art mixers. We have a 20-quart mixer, and then we have, I believe it's a 30 or 40-quart mixer and an 80-quart mixer. So lots of opportunities for
Large quantities.
bakers. We have a dough sheeter, that's the video you all saw the last time of our little incident with our child. But
To make crust
yes,
or pasta.
croissants, things of that nature. So lots of opportunities for lots of different food businesses.
Easiest thing to say would be, if you can imagine doing it in a kitchen, you can do it in these
Yeah.
kitchens.
I still have a clarification. What kind of ovens are those that you said just came in the United States?
They're combi ovens.
Combi?
Yes, so they pretty much, so you can cook using steam, I believe it's convection, and then there's an option for the combination of both. So it interjects the steam and convection,
Cool.
which is something that's used in a lot, Europe, that hasn't necessarily made their way
So you
here.
grew up hearing set it and forget it?
Yep.
Well, that's what this is. This is the
Yes.
2023 version of set it and forget
I
it.
like those.
Good. Ms.
I will
Stewart?
say this.
Go ahead, Ms. Locke.
I am very pleased to see the city of Anderson doing something like this. You've said that it's fairly rare in the state of South Carolina, but I think it's very much a situation that could grow all kinds of things in Anderson. And it's also going to be a benefit for the people of Anderson because they're going to be able to go down there and purchase these items. If you don't, if they cater them, that's one thing, but this will be open to the public. The people will actually be able to go in the store and purchase these items. I think it's a great asset to Anderson, something I'm thrilled about.
Great. Good comments. Mr. Stewart?
Yes, I just have a couple questions, and Mayor, that thing about the cumulative, I've never thought of, that never crossed my mind before, so I appreciate you bringing that up. But the other thing, I know we're growing, and I think I mentioned it to you right after the public hearing, is that I know we're renting the 72-inch walk-in cooler space for $15 a month, and from my understanding, when speaking, that's 72 inches wide, about 72 inches tall. That's a lot of space, so if I only need, and there's like 6 or 7 racks on it, if I only need 2 racks, maybe we look at, well, are we committing that whole space where, hoping we get so busy, we need additional racks, and so now I'm renting the racks instead of renting just an entire rack, I'm renting a shelf on the rack, so maybe we look at as we grow, how do we, say, hey, I want to rent 3 shelves, I don't need the whole rack, well, X amount of dollars for those shelves, that's one thought. The other thing that I just want to make sure is this is all about for our entrepreneurs, I think this is the gist of it. I just want to make sure we're going to have measures in place that there's a good percentage, whatever that percentage is, goes to our entrepreneurs and not to our bigger businesses. Because, businesses have kitchens, entrepreneurs don't. That's why we started this shared kitchen. We want our businesses to use it too, but we just don't want them to take up all of our space and not leave any time or any booking schedule for our small entrepreneurs. So just want us to think about that. Don't know if we have a percentage in mind right now. Maybe it's a hit and miss as we grow.
Yeah, I'll answer that. That is something, you're exactly right. That is something we've thought long and hard about early on in the process. It's really going to be dependent on who actually books the kitchen. We've had a lot of commitments from entrepreneurs, like you said, which is, again, thank you for mentioning that, is the heartbeat of what we're doing here. We have had a lot of interest from existing restaurants who want to use the space for catering. Thank you. Couldn't find the word. And it's going to be a balance to see exactly how much time that they actually do want to book in the kitchen. We absolutely intend, no matter what that percentage looks like. I can't tell you right now because we really just need to get into it and see who's booking it at what rate. But no matter who books, we are going to reserve space in the kitchen, both kitchens, for our entrepreneurs.
And then the last question, I know it was mentioned that the kitchen's going to be open Tuesday through Sunday, and I think, and when I asked, well, why Sunday, what are we going to do Monday? Well, I think I was told that was dedicated for coming in, cleaning, making sure it's good. And so just a thought that I had is that, one is that maybe we look at the kitchen going forward, closing at 6 o'clock on Sunday night. And we have a cleaning company, we have a DHEC approved vendor that does our kitchens in our police department right now that we're under contract with. Maybe we can look at them saying, hey, once a week, what would you provide for us to come clean our kitchen, for 4 hours or whatever the case may be? Because I would think that people would want to do catering on Monday instead of more or less, shutting it, more so after 6 o'clock on Sunday night. And, I know you just can't have any janitorial service come and clean a kitchen. It has to be somebody who knows the DHEC regulations. And we've got a vendor that's under contract with us now, with our police department. So maybe it's just a thought that we maybe reach out and see what kind of partnership. Maybe it'd be a lot cheaper for us to go that route instead of having to come in and do it ourselves. At least we know what we're getting.
Yeah, and all good thoughts. And we built in a good degree of flexibility in our rates and our schedule so that as we see how the kitchen wants to be used, we can flex and accommodate that.
But just
Anything else?
Nope.
Good questions. So,
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve the new rate, or second reading.
we have a first by Mr. Harvey,
Second?
second by Ms. Lockridge. Any further discussion?
I guess once it opens up, we're gonna report back maybe 6 months down the road, just seeing how things are
Absolutely.
progressing in the kitchen and that type of thing, in case we need to make adjustments.
Definitely.
Good.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Well, first we're gonna get everybody down there for a ribbon cutting.
Okay, yeah.
And
okay.
hopefully there'll be some good cooking and we
Oh,
can try
yes.
some samples.
And
then,
generally-
and then certainly we're gonna keep you
Yeah.
up to date and maybe
Friday
have some of them in
updates,
here.
quarterly updates.
Mhm.
So,
Good.
Mr. Mayor, do we need to address the cumulative hourly charge at this point? Since it's written in the ordinance?
I mean, if you wish to, you can amend it and add that language for the specific hours in there.
No,
you can do that.
I would say
So
let's-
the annual,
Yeah, the cumulative hours. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could
mean,
amend it on second reading.
I would
and do that.
recommend at this point annually and let us come back if it becomes an issue and we need to be more stringent, whether it's quarterly or monthly even, we can do that. But I
Mr.
think
Harper,
we
you
need to
agree
leave
with
some
that?
flexibility.
I agree.
And
Amend your motion.
Mr. Lockridge, you amend your
I
motion?
did, well,
Yes, sir.
Lockhart?
Point of clarification, is that annually our fiscal year or January to December? Or is it July to June?
We probably need to run with the budget year, so we'll do our budget year, so.
Okay, just want to make sure that's.
Yeah,
when we
July
talk
1st,
annually, it's the
June
city of
30th.
Anderson's. Right.
Yep.
Point taken. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously on the second reading. Thank you, guys.
Look forward to it.
The second item of old business is request consideration of an ordinance to annex and zone the RM18 multifamily residential 1.4 acres located at 232 Fritz Drive and approximately 0.75 acres located at Lot 23 Arcadia Drive. Mr. McEwen.
Okay, thank you. Of course, City Council did refer this to the Planning Commission upon process of that. The Planning Commission did meet, unanimously approved and recommended to you guys. They did have one part of their motion that Mr. Maurice McKenzie will go over on that as part of their recommendation, and we can talk about that in just a bit. In simple, this is just a simple annexation of 2 lots that are contiguous to the city limits. As part of, and that's all you're doing here is you're looking at 2 lots contiguous to the city limits and making a determination and approval to annex in or not. What it's part of is a larger area, and the area is looking to be sold and with future development in mind. And this has certainly been a strategic area for the city. We've had a lot of capital investment in there as far as infrastructure. The infrastructure is available, so you're not creating the sprawl. You got the infrastructure there. It's well positioned for it. It's been marketed for some time for development, and so this might be the right opportunity. And with that, Mr. Maurice McKenzie, our Planning Development Director, will go over the details and also fill you in on the Planning Commission.
Very good, thank you. And the city manager covered it pretty well, but I'll give you a few more details on it. Again, the request is to annex the 2 pieces of property that the mayor introduced tonight. And about 20 years ago, we annexed roughly 55 acres that were owned by the family to a combination of general commercial and multifamily residential. And the only development that's taken place on that site to this point is the construction of the Beltline connector that you're familiar with. That's the road that connects Brown Road to the East-West Parkway. So that's property that's already been annexed inside the city, and you can see on your maps the 2 pieces of property that they propose to accompany that, and they wish to annex it into the city, mainly to keep everything consistent from a development standpoint. And the existing property, again, that abuts this is zoned RM18, so that's the reason for the request. And even though we haven't seen any official development plans yet, you can see in your packet there is a concept plan from a proposed developer that would like to construct townhouse units. And again, the balance of the property that's already inside the city is already zoned for that type of use. And again, once this goes further, if it's annexed, site plans, development plans will have to be submitted and reviewed by the city. That pertains to landscaping, screening, tree preservation, everything like that. And again, this did go before Planning Commission last week on October 3rd, and the Planning Commission did recommend approval of moving this forward to annex these 2 pieces of property. They did have a condition that no street or driveway connection be made connecting to Arcadia Drive. You can see that upper piece connects Arcadia Drive, and there was initially a platted road years ago, but they made that condition in their recommendation, which we fully support. And again, they saw the feasibility of combining these 2 lots with the remaining property that was annexed 20 years ago. At the meeting last week, about 15 people from the neighborhood did attend. 3 or 4 people did speak, and they had just general questions and concerns. We feel like we addressed most of those at the meeting, and I don't think anybody is here tonight from the neighborhood, but one of their biggest concerns was that connectivity between the development and Arcadia Drive. So again, that was addressed in the Planning Commission's recommendation. So I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. The applicants are also here if you have any questions.
Thank you. And I did watch that meeting, and I noted that the questions were concerning the connection to the neighborhood. And before we get into our discussion, and I don't think anybody would like to speak publicly here today about it. So, questions to council in regards to any thoughts or questions that Ms. McEwen and his folks can answer. Mr. Lockridge.
Maurice,
Then Mr. Stewart.
the change, there would be no input into the Arcadia Drive. Is that in this ordinance?
Well, the concept plan that you see, again, that's a concept. It does not show any connectivity. We've spoken to the applicants and also the potential developer about this, and they have agreed that they do not want to have a connection between this property and Arcadia. It could be something that's made in the motion by the city council that could make it more binding.
Okay, so it's not in the ordinance, but we could make it into the ordinance.
Yes. Mr. Stewart?
Yeah, and I think, watching the meeting too, and then actually speaking, with the developer and hearing from people in Arcadia, I think it's a mutual thing that Arcadia don't want people coming through from the new development through their neighborhood, and the new development want people using that as a cut through. So I think it's a win-win. Both sides don't want it. So I think, to your point, Councilman Lockridge, I think we could, just make that as part of our motion to approve it, with that recommendation.
Any other questions, comments?
I mean, if annex these properties in my area, I don't mind making that motion, definitely. Typically, do we address this in the PDD, though, with the developer about roads and stuff?
We could if it was zone PDD. This is conventional zoning of general commercial and RM18 multifamily residential. So we don't have that document where we can get specific with those type of details.
Okay, all right, well, I'll make the motion to approve this annexation based on the fact that no road cut-throughs or no access to Acadia Drive will ever be, whatever I want to say. Ever be granted, ever be given.
Said it good. First by Mr. Newton.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Stewart. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously on the first reading. Have two items of new business, and that first item is request consideration of an ordinance amending the business license ordinance of the City of Anderson to update the class schedule as required by Act 176 of 2020 and to define marketplace facilitator. Ms. McEwen.
Okay, thank you. First, turn it over to Ms. Margot Martin, our Chief Financial Officer, and then Frankie McClain, our City Attorney, may weigh in on one item.
Great, thank you. So as some background, remember that the General Assembly passed Act 176 in September of 2020 to streamline the business license process, creating the same process for all taxing jurisdictions in the state. And part of that standardization is that we have to have the same rate class schedules. The city is required to adopt a rate class schedule every 2 years. The city last did this in 2021. Now, this is not actual rates. These are the classes that the North American Industry Classification System, NAICS, to place businesses in proper classification according to their profitability as determined by the IRS. So this data was updated in 2023, and the mandated rate class changes that are in effect are in the Appendix B of the ordinance in your packet. In reviewing this, Lisa prepared a spreadsheet, and there are no major swings or shifts in revenue. Part of this is because we're doing this every 2 years and not every 12, 15 years. The net effect to the city currently is an estimated loss of $42,000, which is why we're not recommending any rate changes, just changing the classes as required by the implementation. Some of the major changes in the rate classes, food industry is going from a rate class 1 up to a rate class 2. Services such as hairstylists, things like that, are going down from a rate class 6 to a 4. Accommodations are going from a rate class 3 to a 1. Manufacturing are going from a rate class 2 to a 3. And like I said, the classes are set by the IRS based on their profitability. The other amendment we're proposing is amending the code to include the definition of marketplace facilitator as defined by the South Carolina Sales and Use Tax, that it's a retailer and shall pay a business license pursuant to the schedule for the particular trade. The City of Anderson's retail business license budget for this year is $4.8 million, which is 14% of the city's general fund. I will happy to report, we're finishing up the audit, that our actual revenues at June 30 were $5.2 million. So we are requesting approval on first reading to amend the business license ordinance of the City of Anderson to update the rate class schedule as required and to define marketplace facilitator to meet the requirements of Act 176. And this would go into effect January 1, 2024.
And I'll add one thing too. So this is our retail business license that we do in-house. It doesn't include the business license when you see in the budget of the franchise fees and the brokers and insurance commissions that also come in. So which provides almost 45% of our budget.
What's the definition of the marketplace facilitator?
Mr. McLean?
A marketplace facilitator is defined by the state statute as basically an organization that, or a company that facilitates retail between different entities within the city of Anderson. And although that company is not in the city of Anderson, but most of the thing goes on. Basically, we're dealing right now with our business license official assessed a business license against DoorDash. And they have appealed that. Mr. McEwen heard part of the appeal, and now it's going to the Administrative Court of Appeals. It's basically because they don't think that definition applies to business licenses. They think that definition only applies to sales tax and use tax. And I'm just asking them in the code. I think we probably have a good case, even without this definition. The way they do business is they do business in the city of Anderson. They did over $2 million last year in the city of Anderson. We base the income on our estimation of their thing. They did not dispute the amount we said they made. But then they say, we don't make any money in Anderson. I think they clearly, with the nexus that they have, and they hire independent contractors, they advertise independent businesses in Anderson. They advertise, and you can order something from Sullivan, and they'll get somebody to go pick it up and bring it to your house, but yet they say they're not doing business in Anderson. We think they are regardless. We think it makes it more clear, since they have a clear definition in the state statute of what a marketplace facilitator is. They don't deny that they fit under that definition.
Well, we'll keep it general too, that there's other companies similar to that operate the same business model.
But they're not, you guys are going to say, because there's other companies other than DoorDash, are they not appealing, are they getting business license, or just DoorDash is being?
Probably, let's not talk in open session regarding it. It's pending claim with that, so.
Would Uber fall into that same classification?
No, state law, there was a state law that was enacted that basically provides share revenue to us on that, so the state took that in their hands.
But they're required to file a certificate of doing business in South Carolina with the income tax. They're required to file income tax and sales tax.
Mr. Harper?
In South Carolina.
Yes, so remind me, if you go down a business in the classes, do your taxes go up or down?
One is the least expensive rate class.
Okay.
And it works its way up.
Okay.
So if you're going from a 1 to a 2, yes, there is an increase. The net effect of all the changes was estimated the city would lose about $40,000, but again, it's based on their gross revenue, how they do. So we didn't think it necessary. We needed to change our rates. We're just moving rate classes as required every 2 years.
Yeah.
And NAICS is, of course, it classifies the business type on their profitability, and it's their profitability type. And so
we did
it
have
provides a way of fairness, really, to every business.
But we did have the right to increase rates.
Yes, you
At
do.
this point in time.
Yes, you do.
And the next true up would be in 2 years.
Yes. Staff, we are recommending no changes to the rates, but that is certainly council's discretion.
Thank you. Ms. Stewart?
Just looking at the wireless telecommunication carriers, I think, working in the industry, when you're talking about the wireless telecommunication carriers except satellite, you have carriers are defined, Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, et cetera. But then you have people who own the towers itself. What classification do they fall under? Because they're the one who's gaining the revenue from those carriers, is the tower owners. Are they defined under here? Are they?
I'm gonna have Lisa Holden, our business license manager.
So we actually have a franchise fee for AT&T. They're treated like Duke Energy, but the towers, Lisa can speak to that.
I'm not talking about that.
Like Crown Castle or American Tower.
SBA.
Yeah.
The actual owners of the towers are licensed under the business license, but as far as the fees that are collected by the municipal association, that is the amount of income that comes in from the Verizon and AT&T and the other telecommunication deliverers.
Tower owners classified as?
Tower owner, they're considered, right now they're considered the real estate. Because they actually own the tower, so we charge them based on whatever Verizon or whoever's paying them to rent that tower.
So they fall under real estate. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I will add that there has been some, you bring up a good point, there's been some state conversation about that over the last couple of years, and the municipal associations represented on that issue several times to try to create more of an even playing field on that. As you have, like, say, the hardline providers, AT&T, Spectrum, et cetera, providing a franchise fee for wireless carriers to participate in something similar. So I've seen those conversations continue, but there's been nothing
That revenue
resolved.
just continues to decrease, that part of.
Correct, yeah, so we've had major investments in fiber in the city now, so now we're seeing some increase there.
True.
A drop off of another provider. However, then when you go to, what I think the concern is when you go to the 5G modem at your house, and so it's just wireless to your house, what the future looks like, and then how do you create or maintain the even playing field for a competitor of wireless competing against the hardline carrier.
True. Technology, it keeps changing. Any other questions, comments?
I'll make a comment about this. I think recently I had a conversation with the city about a business that was moving into the city, and they had some questions about business licensing and how that worked with the NAICS codes and things like that. The city was very responsive, gave examples, made it very easy for me to communicate back to the business owner. I think for other council members, it's just good for us to have these conversations, because I think the business customer is just concerned about the unknown, didn't know what this cost was going to look like, but the city did a good job modeling this, and they felt like it was fair. So I felt that was appropriate to share it. So with that being said, I'll make the motion that we go ahead and approve as written. So we would be keeping the rate the same, but we'd be changing the classifications due to the NAICS codes accordingly.
First by Mr. Martinez.
Second.
Second by Mr. Newton. Further discussion?
Is this a first time reading?
Yes, ma'am, this is the first reading. Anything else, guys? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously on the first reading.
Thank you.
Thank you. The last item of new business is request consideration of paving resolutions to Anderson County Transportation Committee, CTC, and the South Carolina Department of Transportation. Mr. McEwen.
Okay, we're always assessing our needs as far as city roads, and also we evaluate the state roads as well. The state evaluates them, but we'll go over the evaluation process, the recommendation, However, what we like to do is, one, the ACTC committee has been very generous and to the city of Anderson. We have a very good relationship with them. Recently, they have funded several roads for us. I have that in my packet, totaling over, I think it's 1.3 million. Couldn't find the sheet right away, but anyways, what we like to do is keep a fresh resolution. They do require resolution in front of them, stating the will of council, prioritizing the roads, and so we keep a fresh one in front of them. So as revenue comes in from the usage tax, which is the gas tax, then we can put in for that. And so I'll have Mr. Maurice McKenzie and his department, who houses our transportation division, go over this with you. Mr. McKenzie.
Thank you. City Manager is correct. We bring this to you on an annual basis, the paving resolutions, our wish list, and the Anderson County Transportation Committee, they do require a paving resolution from local governments to accompany the funding request. So it's very important for us to keep the local list of roads fresh and submit that to them as we submit our applications. And again, the list that goes to the state with the state roads, it is a wish list. They do pave several roads during the year, each year, and they may not follow our list exactly, but we certainly are appreciative of the roads they do pave. But when we do rank the streets that you see before you, we use a few different types of applications to create a tiered priority system. A lot of the evaluations are based on the SCDOT's weighted ranking system, which looks at paving condition, average daily traffic count, economic community impact, population affected on the streets as well. And also, we do look at a cohesion bonus to ensure neighborhood streets, subdivision streets stay together on the paving list. That way we can maximize funding impacts in particular areas. And you see before you tonight 3 different resolutions, one that goes to the Anderson County Transportation Committee, one that goes to the SCDOT, and then one to Anderson County. We'd like to submit that to them as well. And the list of the streets that you see before you, that's actually just a highest ranked list. We have a much more extensive list, but again, it's not necessary to send 150 streets to each agency. We have many streets, as you know, that are in need of resurfacing, but these are the top ranked streets listed in the tiered order of need. And again, this is coming to you tonight for recommendation of approval for the 3 resolutions that go before Anderson County, the CTC, and the SCDOT.
Thank you, sir. Any comments, questions?
Question.
Mr. Stewart?
In my packet, I've got a list that says 2023 City of Anderson State Paving List, but then I've got 2 lists that says City of Anderson Local Paving List. Is there a county paving, the other one that you mentioned, or is that same one? It just says local paving.
Yeah, what we do, again, with the resolution that goes to Anderson County, we send to them the local paving list. To the Anderson County Transportation Committee, we send both the local and the state list to them. And then with the SCDOT, obviously, we just send the state paving list to them. So I just kept them as duplicates in there. Right, they're the same ones. But again, one list is local, one list are the state roads.
Okay.
One other point, I just want to applaud our staff working with DOT and coordination. So even though a lot of their recommendations for paving come out of their Columbia office, they are based on, they hear from their local district officials. It is a very large district that we're a part of, headquartered in Greenwood. However, given the opportunity, and we found out about it, they advised us that they're going to pave a state road. We have been looking at our water and sewer infrastructure. A good example of that is North Street. And so we were advised that they were going to pave North Street. It's a state road. We asked them if they could pause for a moment while we completely put in new infrastructure of sewer and water. So therefore, you're not paving a road and then we're having to go back in and do work on those lines. And that partnership has worked out really good. That's just another example of it. And I think they're finishing that up, and the project's almost complete. And so the water and sewer is complete, and I know they're working on the road. So I just wanted to point that out as well, our coordination.
Thank you. Mr. Harbin?
That was a question I had, Mr. McEwen, because I'm in that area some, and it looks like it's I think it started on Greenwood Street and went all the way down. And why are they lower down on the list? Is there a particular reason North Street is?
North Street on the list?
Yeah.
On this list?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually, done now, so.
So it will get paved?
Yeah, it's being paved now, so it's,
They're out there today.
yeah, so
Okay,
we've
so that's what
actually.
it'd be today.
Yeah, as we
So they
speak,
would
so it
come
should
off-
it should not have made the list, but
Okay.
it was, so they actually, chose that
Well,
road needed
I
to be
remember we had
paved,
the
right?
conversation, they were getting ready to pave it. We
That's
said,
right.
"Don't." We put a huge sewer line all the way
Mhm.
down it. it's
And
a
we
mess.
replaced the water line, and they're coming
Yeah.
back, and they did some,
I didn't know they
a
started
little bit of
taking
work,
it
but
back.
yep.
They got the whole area
Thank-
blocked off.
Thank you. That's all I need. I just
sir.
wanted to make sure that they didn't get shuffled back. 'cause they're
Right.
bad.
And right now too, so we're getting into, it was 42 degrees last night, so you went
Yeah.
paved today. You wanted, they'll pave those secondary roads 55 degrees and up, but, to get the best quality.
Good. Anything else, guys? No more questions?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve these lists as presented.
I have first by Ms. Horgan,
Second.
second by Dr. Thompson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolutions pass unanimously. Three signatures. While they're working their way down, I entertain a motion to adjourn. I have first by Mr. Newton, second by Mr. Martinez. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned.